Hello, welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. The California legislature has passed some pension reform, but our next guest says it does not go far enough. He's Assemblyman Don Wagner. Welcome.
Hi, Leslie. Good to be with you again.
What's wrong with it?
Well, it doesn't go far enough. We've got a problem that's over $500 billion according to some estimates, and the governor's pension reform proposal, he says, is about $50 billion. I've seen estimates as high as $70 billion over the next 30 or so years. It's a drop in the bucket compared to the real problem.
Okay, let's talk about what it does do.
Okay, well, one of the things it does, and this is a good idea, and I got to give the governor some credit for it, is it caps pensions. I had a bill that capped pensions at a flat $100,000. The governor's proposal is, as the governor's proposal would be, a little more generous, $106,000 for those who are getting Social Security, $130,000 for those who aren't. That's a good thing. One of the biggest problems, though, that I've got and many of my colleagues have with the governor's proposal, in addition to just the size, is the fact that it is statutory only, and I expect that it will come unraveled. The governor and the unions will end up making changes, and we won't even get the small benefits that we are proposed to get with the current plan.
So you're thinking it doesn't go far enough and it's not even going to go where it says it's going to go.
No.
What do you think is needed for real pension reform?
Well, I'll tell you, the governor himself put forward in October of 2011 a 12-point proposal that he could not get his own Democratic Party to support. So what ended up happening is I and my Republican colleagues ourselves introduced the governor's 12-point plan. We said that is a floor, certainly a starting point, and what we ended up getting the very last day of session was something that was even weaker than that. What needs to happen is we need to go back to the governor's 12-point plan. We need to start there, and we need to work our way up. And then we need to put it to the voters so that it goes into the California state constitution, and the next legislature, when they get some heat from the union bosses in a year, in 2 years to undo this, can't undo it. That's what I worry about. So I start with the governor's 12-point plan, I put it in the constitution, and then I move for more reform.
Some argue that this doesn't go far enough, and some say that it only addresses new hires, for instance, and that it does nothing about the retirees in the pipeline. What effect do you see the pension burden having on our state?
Well, I think the effect is going to be drastic if we don't do something about the current employees as opposed to the new hires. That is another one of the problems with the governor's plan. Now, he's somewhat hamstrung by some court decisions, but the fact is, the reason the savings are over 30 or 40 years is because it only does apply to new hires. We need to get a handle on the current employees and the current pensions as opposed to just what happens 30 and 40 years down the road. So those critics are absolutely right that this only is a start and doesn't deal with the current problem, only deals with it a bunch of years out.
So how do you expect to make any real change if you're not getting what you want right now?
Well, I'm not sure that the current system is going to be anything that can be sustained, and at some point the public is going to come to that recognition. What I think was happening with the pension reform that we did pass on the last night of session is that the governor wanted to be able to say to the public, hey, here is some pension reform, now you can support my Proposition 30, my tax increase, because look, we've solved the problem. Well, the truth is it's only a talking point, it's not a real solution. At some point, and I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later, the public is going to recognize this is too little, this is too late, and that some very serious, very big changes need to be made, and made right away. And if the government is not willing to do that, the public is going to write its own constitutional amendment, put real pension reform into the Constitution. I think that's where we're going, unfortunately.
Assemblyman Don Wagner, thank you for being here.
Leslie, thank you.
And thank you for joining us.